What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the GoodeBaker Podcast. I'm Nick Baker. Across from me, Shane Good, and we're here to talk to you about some video games. What were you about to say?
Hey guys. Hi.
Hey. All right. So welcome back. We're gonna run you through an E3 recap once we talk to you about the games that we've been playing. So first things first, I've been playing Skyrim. Not really exciting.
Oh yeah.
Kind of jumped back into that a little bit. I've been kind of feeling the itch. I was really excited for Bethesda's E3 conference, but they had a few things that weren't exactly super exciting. Some things that were mildly exciting. We'll get into that later, but
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Skyrim about level 11 again. I just created a new character.
Have you beat it before?
I actually have not ever beaten the entire story, so that's one of the reasons I actually got back into it. Is I've always filled that game with my time, just put all my time into it, gotten to a really high level, but I always did the off stuff, I did the side quests and everything.
So you just fucked around.
Yeah, and that was always good enough for me playing that game, and I never really got through the main story, so that's what I'm trying to do now. So, but
nice.
You've been playing more of Path of Exiles.
You got it. PoE, man, new season dropped. This season it's all about loot, dude. It's everything that we, as the PoE community, wanted and more. Mm-hmm. I've already dropped 4 Exalts, which Exalt is the currency tiers. Exalt is second from the highest, only to Mirrors. Mirror of Kalandra. I know several people that have, 7,000 hours in the game and have never seen a mirror in their life.
Wow. So it's super fucking rare.
Beyond rare. They cost about $400 in U.S. currency if you were to buy one out of game.
Oh, nice. So you can just straight up buy one.
Yeah.
Cheap it out that way. Not exactly cheap it out, I guess.
They don't want you to do that. It's kind of against the terms and conditions, but in terms of to know what the real value of what that would cost.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, putting a dollar value to it.
Yeah, definitely don't condone purchasing currency, for the record. Just throw that out
there. Yeah, good call. So, anything else you want to add to PoE before we move on to the big stuff?
Go play it. New season's really good. Other than that, not really. Go get your Cyclone on. It's OP.
All right. So that means we're on to our big E3 recap.
Yes, sir.
We're going to go down through a list of the games that we thought were the highlights of the show, the games that were shown the best, or some favorites that we have sprinkled throughout here. So the highlights of the show, I think it really starts almost at the end with Final Fantasy VII Remake for me. This was one of the ones that I added on there. I know that you enjoyed it as well, but I was so pumped going into this. And I couldn't take my eyes away from the stuff that was on the screen. The combat system looks so perfect. The perfect modernization of that ATB combat system where you can slow everything down, similar to a VATS system, and really take in all your surroundings and strategically take down enemies that way. But it also adds that high-paced, fluid, fun combat like Final Fantasy 15 or Kingdom Hearts.
It just looks so smooth, especially with those updated graphics, dude.
Yeah.
Switching between characters, no hitches at all. Literally queuing up a move, starting to send it in motion, switching to another character, and then just following up with counter or another attack.
I can only imagine. They showed a few different things. You can stagger opponents, in I think Final Fantasy 12 had. Excuse me. They had a stagger system in that. I don't know if it was actually called stagger, but it was a similar system where you could break a target's guard, and then they become vulnerable for a little while. They sort of did similar stuff with Final Fantasy 15, but it wasn't as in-depth, and you couldn't do it to every enemy.
Yo.
But it seems like this is kind of in that vein of, you really want to target one solid, strong enemy on the battlefield. You go for that, you get that stagger, and you can deal all kinds of extra damage, similar to what they were doing with the the boss battle at the end of this crazy trailer.
Oh man, that boss battle was so freaking cool.
I had the biggest JRPG nerd boner throughout that whole thing, and I just couldn't stop. It was amazing. They said that this game is going to take place. It's going to be a series of games still episodic. A little unfortunate, but I kind of see their vision for it a little bit better now.
Yep.
Whereas they're going to treat each section of, admittedly, Final Fantasy VII is a really long game.
Yeah, it was like
PS1.
4 discs on PS1, if I remember right. Or was it 3?
I think it might have been 3. I think it was 1.
I know it came in that big old chunky.
You're right.
Block.
It might have been 4.
I can't remember.
Comment in the comments below. Let us know.
3 or 4.
But they're really focusing on Midgar for this first game that they announced the release date is, I didn't write it down here, but I think it's March 3rd next year.
Yeah, I remember it being sometime in March next year because I'm pretty stoked about it.
So that's going to kick off a crazy spring for games. There's so many more release dates that were announced at the show that we're going to get into. But man, this game, now that they're really taking like a concentrated look at all the different parts of the game that made it special, like the Midgar section of that game is so iconic and unique for JRPGs in general that they're really taking that and expanding on it in such a way that makes it feel like a grand epic part of this maybe 4 part series.
It definitely, really. I feel like they're definitely gonna flush it out way better than you could do if you didn't do that. I think if I remember right, the game was gonna be on 2 Blu-ray discs.
Just this section.
Yeah, so just 2 Blu-ray discs.
Yeah.
That's
insane.
I don't think that's just holding the graphics, if you know what I'm saying.
I mean, a lot of that load is the graphics, because this game was beautiful, jaw-dropping. The particle effects from each sword slash was amazing. The cross slash animation was insane.
Oh, yeah.
The whole mechanical spider boss fight at the end was just, like I said, jaw-dropping. It's so incredible to think that it's how I imagine this game looked when I was, 12, 13 years old playing it.
Yo.
So, really nostalgia-driven hype fest for me. The Square Enix conference for sure. But moving on to the next one, we go back to the beginning of E3.
We're gonna jump around.
Yes, yeah, we're gonna hop around quite a bit. But Star Wars: The Jedi Fallen Order.
Yep.
What were some of your thoughts on this game? Because I've been rattling on about Final Fantasy.
No, you're good. So, I mean, I feel like the game itself has a feel that I've wanted in a Star Wars game for a long time. This no real, obviously there'll be a pressing storyline, but I just feel like it just looked so much prettier and more open, just like that. I mean, like we were talking earlier, that Uncharted kind of feel.
Yeah.
There's definitely, obviously there's a storyline, but also there's world to explore out there that, it might veer off from the storyline a little bit. I'll be interested to see what they'll do with side quests, if there'll be a way to control, just different, kind of like a skill tree. I noticed there was, in the gameplay, in the top right, there was... he leveled up, or whoever was playing leveled up,
right.
Once or twice, but they didn't show, what they did with the skill points. And I'd just be really interested to see, is there a skill tree? Is there, a force tree? Can you go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you do different things?
Different trees for different abilities,
yeah.
I think would be the best way to go. It doesn't seem like you're going to have that, Paragon Path selection where you're going, Sith, Jedi.
Yeah.
It seems like you're going to pretty much have that Jedi... excuse that.
Yeah.
You're gonna have that Jedi path that you're just gonna be straight up on throughout the entire game. What I was interested to see, I hope that they take inspiration from God of War, and that game was so linear, but there were parts of it where you could kind of expand and go to different parts of this greater world. So maybe they drop you in one of these Star Wars planets and you can kind of mosey about in like the lake-sized area in God of War.
Yo.
And that way you can get like side quests and stuff, and they can extend the life of the game that way.
I mean, it'll definitely. I'd love to fuck around on the Tatooine. You know what I mean?
No.
That would be.
Yeah.
Like
any
just
kind of like.
And like
yeah, the desert planets would be really fun. Kashyyyk would be really cool because man, that was one of my favorite maps from Battlefront 2.
Honestly, just flying around in space too, like not having a like the Battlefront, was it Battlefront 1 for PS2, where like I think it was Battlefront 1. No, what was it? It's one of the battle like the older Battlefront games for PS2.
I think it was Battlefront 2 that you could be on in Naboo.
What was it? Right? Is that what it was? Where you could like fly around and there was like actual space missions and like you could capture ships and
they took a lot of inspiration in the remakes from those, but I don't think that they ever quite like obviously the new games flush that out in such a way, but back then before any of that, like it was so crazy to see like actual starfight battles up in space.
Yeah.
And you're able to complete missions and stuff like that. It completely blew my little mind when I played that game.
For sure.
For the first time. This game though, I think it's gonna take, like I said, a God of War like linear path.
I
but
hope so.
Hopefully, like you said, it kind of veers off in a few different directions so you can get a little bit of flavor of the entire Star Wars ethos rather than just like a small little tasting.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. The new trailer showed a bunch of gameplay. The combat system looks almost like Sekiro.
Yep.
Like Dark Souls, like counter based, maybe a little bit of Arkham in there.
It kind of reminds me a little more of Arkham because it looked like the person that was playing didn't have much struggle, other than like them showing the combat system itself.
And honestly, bringing up the difficulty of the combat, I don't necessarily think the combat needs to be difficult for the game to be fun. Just like all the old Assassin's Creed games where you could pretty much just counter fight everybody. Yeah. But it was so flashy and it was so fun. Like you'd flourish two guys into another, you'd kick one off the edge of the ship, and then you'd grab this guy, stab two of them through with a sword, kick those guys overboard. It's an intense way to get into like a combat situation, whereas maybe Dark Souls and games like that kind of turn into like a roll fest where you're just kind of rolling to dodge enemies and they do too much damage, and when they do hit you you're like devastated, so you don't want to get hit. Whereas in these types of games, which I think Star Wars is going to be more like, is you'll be able to take a few shots before you really are considering like backing off, so you can play a little bit more aggressively and maybe get some of those like cooler moments, like throwing two guys in, dragging one with Jedi Force power, slicing them in half as they come. There was one quick bit of gameplay that they showed. They froze one of the blaster bullets in midair, dragged one of the stormtroopers up to where he was, almost like a force choke, and then put him in the path of his own bullet. It was insanely cool. And there's all kinds of stuff like that you can do. We're gonna have a blast with this game. It's coming out in November. Like what?
I got you. It's November 5th.
Yeah.
It's November 15th. I misread it. Definitely gonna be fun. I mean, my goodbye to this one will be, I hope it's less like Dark Souls in single target and more like Dynasty Warriors, where you're definitely overpowered. Yeah, but there's enough enemies where it's still a little challenging.
Right. The challenge is more in the sheer number, the mass of force that you're presented with, rather than the actual skill of the single target. Which they did show like a few, like and I'm sure that they'll be great. Yeah, like the elite stormtroopers, and I'm sure that there'll be plenty of sick lightsaber battles that you get in this game.
Oh yeah.
Some people were hypothesizing Darth Maul being a part of this.
That'd be dope.
Because of what happened in Solo, where he showed up at the end of that movie. That's pretty cool. And they did say that this game is canon, so they can kind of pull pieces from all the different parts of Star Wars and really make it interesting. But anyway, we've dwelled on Star Wars long enough, because now I'm excited to talk about the best game, in my opinion, at the show.
Minecraft?
Well,
no, I had to throw it out there.
You're right. You're right in in a really fucked up world. But no, Cyberpunk 2077, motherfucker. Yes, dude.
Dude, this one's so pumped.
So this had, obviously, everybody's talking about it, the best moment in any of the press conferences. It elevated,
definitely the hypest.
It elevated Microsoft's conference to that next tier, that next level, to where it could actually compete with Square Enix. Square Enix just had a ton of shit, but
yeah, they really did.
Cyberpunk, man, the trailer alone, like, let's just begin there. The trailer was all CG, like, no more gameplay. They did show gameplay behind the scenes at E3, but I'm sure they'll come out with that later, like they did with the last chunk. The scenario is just such a different feel than the early concepts that we got from this game. It's just dark, and your guy at the beginning, V, is running away from a supposed gunfire, and your buddy Jackie jumps into the car, and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, and then all of a sudden you look over and he's dying, he's dead practically, and you get to where you're going, you go upstairs to this apartment to this supposed guy that you're working for, and he looks like he's going to double cross you, but he tells you to clean up. You go into the bathroom, and you're cleaning up, and you have these flashbacks of all the stuff that happened, and you're looking into your hands, and you have, oh man, the whole thing, man. I'm just describing it right now is getting me so fucking excited.
Dude, it's gonna be so good.
But you burst out of the bathroom, and they double cross you. This guy grabs you. Your fucking scythe arms come out, and you jump into this guy. Cutting him up, and damn, dude, you finally grab a gun on the desk. You point it at, I can't remember the guy's name, but the DJ looking motherfucker, and you point it at him. He gets you, and then all of a sudden it happens, dude. The moment you reboot, everything comes back, and it's like a flicker of like an old school computer desktop, and you're like, and everything fires up again, and you see these boots, and you look up, and it's Keanu fucking Reeves, man.
Dude, that was so hype.
Are you kidding me?
That was so hype.
Johnny Silverhand, as he should be known in this game. But Keanu fucking Reeves, man. They got Keanu Reeves to play this character. That's insane.
Dude, I keep seeing these memes online, and they're so good right now. It's like Chuck Norris handing Keanu, it's edited as shit.
Oh yeah.
But Chuck Norris handing Keanu Reeves like the keys of badassery.
Yes.
And it's like
yes, it's perfect. It's perfect. And man, what a follow up to The Witcher 3 this game is going to be. Like, The Witcher 3, one of my favorite games on the last gen consoles. I think I've said that before. But yeah. I'm lost for words, really, because this game, they countless interviews during E3. Everybody's excited about this game, so they're getting a lot of information out there. The release date is April 16th.
I pulled up the release dates of all these games.
That's
all right.
Good on you, man. You're helping me out.
April 16th, 2020.
2020. So
we are a minute away from this one. A solid minute away.
Yeah, we're one,
or almost a year, essentially.
Yeah, practically a year.
But if I remember right, it did it explicitly said that it was going to be for this generation console.
Yeah.
Which is that's a big thing.
This trailer came out alongside, obviously, the Microsoft conference. They announced that their next gen is coming holiday 2020. So
right, so it should be on
I assume that it will get cross release and maybe get a remaster for the next year.
That does
excuse me.
It does make me question just the fact that it's coming out right in the same time era as this new console, Microsoft's next thing, their whole move is to be able to do crossplay, to be able to take your games wherever you want. It makes me wonder what they're going to do with this game and whether it's going to be crossplay with PlayStation, Xbox, computer, if it's even going to have multiplayer. Like, there's so many questions that I have about this game, but like, just looking at all the details, dude, it's so overwhelming. Like, this game is just gonna be so fucking dope.
The detail alone in the world. I mean, we could just have a podcast about this game, and I could just talk your ear up about it. So we should move on to some more games. But just to cap it off, the next year, spring is just
it's
gonna explode, man. With all the great games that are coming out of that next year during that time,
gonna be broke.
Yeah. Completely broke, but at least, taxes.
Yikes.
Yeah. So, anyway, moving on. Cyberpunk 2077. Minecraft Dungeons. Why don't you go ahead and take the reins on this one? I know you're really excited. This week, just to put my 2 cents in there real quick. Does look pretty cool.
It looks super cool. So Minecraft Dungeons, definitely up my alley. This definitely, there's a lot of things that really excite me about it. Just the bullet points of the game before we get into kind of the meat of what it is for me. It's a Minecraft dungeon crawler. It's literally just a dungeon crawler with Minecraft skin.
Right.
It looks really fun. I'm really excited to see what type of loot they have. I'm more excited about the fact that it's 4-player co-op on one couch. We just don't have couch games anymore, and this is it's really exciting that a company actually went and they're going to try it again, and it would be really cool to see it work and to launch really well. Also, from what I looked at, it looks like it might be cross-play as well between PC and Xbox players, but it's also going to be on Switch, PS4, the whole shebang.
I think the shell on that is softening as far as actual crossplay. I think we're gonna start getting legitimate, and next gen. I think it's really gonna be integrated in a massive way.
Now the only thing that kind of puts me off, I don't know if this is going to be current gen, and I don't know only because the release date for it is spring 2020, and Microsoft already has this console in development, and games like this have already been in development for a pretty decent period of time. And if their idea behind it is crossplay, I'm confident they're going to be pushing crossplay more with this new console, and they're going to try and push it out a little less with their old console to encourage people to buy that new console. And where they lose so much money on consoles right now, games like this are a reason to buy a new console so you can play with your friends, you know? So I'll be very interested to see just what they do. I mean, what are your thoughts on this one?
Like I said, it does have a really cool feel to it. Like you said, couch co-op is a big deal. I miss that about gaming. It's one of the most nostalgic things that I can think of when it comes to gaming, just sitting on a couch with your friends playing the hottest game of the week. I did want to sprinkle in here because I thought this was a good little side thing. Square Enix announced Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, which is a very similar game. It's dungeon crawler-esque where it has that isometric camera angle. You're above your characters and you're floating around on the screen with your friends, and you can perform different combo spells and stuff like that. And it does remind me of, it's like Diablo Light because there's not a crazy amount of loot, but there's enough to I think it was just a standalone, no DLC release back in the GameCube era. I don't think they really had any kind of a way to add on to that game, so it was really interesting to see that limited loot drop system back then, and what it has now evolved into with a game like Minecraft Dungeons.
Definitely be interesting. Now, what do you know? Do you know what consoles that will be on? I don't remember.
I think that the ones that I can specifically remember are PS4 and Switch.
Yup.
But I'm not sure about Xbox, and I'm not sure about PC.
Honestly, Final Fantasy really, if I remember right, they
play
don't
nice.
really reach
They play nice with a few
PC.
now and
That's
then.
it. What are you talking about?
They play nice with like Final Fantasy 13 and 15 and
Yeah.
Supposedly I don't know, is 7 Remake an exclusive?
I don't specifically remember if 7 Remake was an exclusive.
Damn, that would be sick.
It wouldn't surprise me.
What a blow that would be to... Oh, man.
It definitely wouldn't surprise me.
But anyway, so
Yeah.
Minecraft Dungeons is going to be a fun little romp through a Minecraft-like dungeon crawler world, and I can't wait to see, like, you know, the nuances that they bring to whatever story that they're gonna have. I don't really know much about the story editions of Minecraft that they've done, whether they've been good or not. So we'll see. Anyway, this next one was just a brief little thing that I want to touch on because I think this game has been doing great things of late.
Definitely been trying to change the game, if you will.
Apex Legends, at EA Play, they announced all kinds of new content, including their Season 2 content with their new character, Watson.
It's pretty tight.
A new weapon, the L-Star. It's a gold weapon. I think it takes...
Experimental
ammunition. Looks really cool. Has a really high round magazine. I think it was like 60 rounds.
Yeah, it was like really high. And if I remember right, the people that played with it, that talked about playing with it, said that it's really good.
Really good.
So
that'll be interesting. They have a lot of really cool skins. A lot of the skins really impressed me, the ones that they showed concept art for.
Dude, those fucking gun skins were so tight.
Yeah, and if they just keep coming out with more loot and more skins like that, they also had some really cool, really deeply concepted, like they changed the concepted... They changed the concept of a few of the base art styles of the characters.
Yeah.
Like Wraith had... instead of like her gray complexion that she had before, she was like almost a little tan, and she had these blonde dreads, and she completely changed her look, which I am totally into that. I'd really like to see different iterations of different characters too, like Gibraltar maybe having a different, maybe slimmer build, not so much like physicality wise, but maybe he'll wear less armor so that he isn't quite as big a hitbox.
That'd be interesting.
So, and make him a little bit more usable. But yeah, I just wanted to briefly... wow, I completely... And that must have been autocorrected. The L-Star got autocorrected to L-Stars.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, anyway. Moving on. Apex Legends, dope. But,
before we move through Apex Legends, rank system. Oh,
right. Yeah, they're adding ranked.
We gotta mention that because it's super big for people like me.
Yes, and it's not for me because I am not the greatest at that game. I've had maybe 6 wins. I didn't play a crazy amount, but I dabbled a lot.
Played enough to win.
Yeah, played enough to win and played enough to be confident in going into some gunfights. Definitely not now. I haven't played in a while. But anyway, now moving on.
Yes.
Watch Dogs Legion. I thought this game looked really interesting, really experimental, different. They're trying something new in the vein of Watch Dogs that I don't think anybody's really tried before. So
I can only ever think of one game that comes to mind, and I can't think of anything else that even would come close to what they're doing.
Taking NPCs and making them playable characters, I'm sure that's been done before in a very small sense.
Yeah.
I have never seen the ambition of taking every NPC and being able to convert them to a playable character. The only thing that really comes to mind is Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and you couldn't play as the characters, but you could collect different NPCs and make them Brotherhood assassins. And that's what this reminds me of a lot. And it's funny that it's Ubisoft too, so maybe they're just kind of reaching back into the vault of game ideas that they had. But this concept is really exciting to me, where Watch Dogs was always just this franchise that I kind of let go in the back burner. Like, I didn't really play. I played a little bit of the first one.
Cool,
I tried it, like maybe 15 minutes of it.
Yeah.
It was a cool concept. Didn't grab me. And the second one came out. I looked at it briefly. I wanted to give it a shot, but it kind of just flew by me.
Yeah, for sure.
But this one, I think I'm going to have to take notice, because this
it's just a like...
It's so different.
Yeah.
And that's what's exciting about it the most. What do you think about it?
I mean, really just same as you, man. Like taking a concept of taking a concept that literally wasn't doable, 2 years ago, a year ago, even probably.
Right.
Just realistically, the amount of content and the amount of work that these guys had to put in for Watch Dogs Legion is And the guy says, every character is playable. Every person you see is playable. They all have custom voice lines. They all have custom abilities. Everything is made on purpose. My only question is, with a playthrough, do you play through once and see the same people in the same areas? Do you play through, because they're permadeath? You know what I mean?
Imagine if they wanted to keep it fresh. An easy way to combat that is just because I don't think that the world is going to be so specific, and these characters be so specific to where they are and what they're doing in the world, because of what this entails, unless I'm completely off base. But I think that they could necessarily just disperse them randomly throughout the world every time you go through, so that you don't ever have that same feel twice. Or maybe they'll just keep them kind of doing the same routes, and the game will naturally, because it's an open world, you'll naturally find your way to different parts of the world, and you'll experience these characters at different times in your playthrough, so that it will feel different.
Definitely.
A lot of questions, I think, for this one.
Too many questions.
But one of the highlights, because it's just so innovative, and really something that excites me about just not only games but gameplay. I think that this speaks to something that could come in the future. Imagine just a single player game where the mechanic was taking over other characters and performing certain things. Almost you could implement that in a military strategy game too, and it could be really fast paced, where you can it would work really well for PC. You aim your cursor at another fighter, and you're almost like this ghost that goes to the next fighter, and you fire from a different angle. There's so many different things that you can think of that this could be implemented in, and that's what's exciting about this one, more than, I guess, the Watch Dogs universe, which I haven't experienced. Maybe there is something there that I'd be interested in.
I don't know. Definitely the concept of the game is just, it's literally groundbreaking, because nobody's done it yet.
Right. Great move by Ubisoft, I think. Great
ingenuity. But, enough about that. I know there's a tagline here, but what the fuck? What do we... Explain.
There is definitely... there is definitely a tagline. And, I have no idea what it is, but, Deathloop.
Yeah.
Bethesda dropped this trailer for this... it's just a cinematic, but the concept of it is so cool. So it shows this gentleman waking up on the beach, and he finds his way to a mountaintop where this glowing ring is spinning in it just looks like it's embedded into the ground.
Yeah.
It seems to be causing some sort of effect on the island, where if you die, you revive and you end up somewhere else or back on the beach or something. I don't know. The concept is strange. It's from the makers of Dishonored, so I assume that's why it's so strange.
Those dudes are very interesting.
from what you can gather, the gameplay might be like from the trailer, it seems like it's going to be a pretty fun, fast-paced shooter with some quippy dialogue and fun acrobatic movement. What else? What else can you take away from it? Because we just watched it briefly, and
I would say, man, I don't know. So the idea to me is really cool. It's another concept that people aren't really playing with too much, even though we got a couple of them in this E3 conference itself.
Yeah.
But the idea is, it's really cool. It's very fresh. It's not in, so a lot of people aren't doing it, and I think the playability of playing as the character that's fighting for the time loop to end and the character that's fighting for the time loop to continue is very, it's a very good and evil fight. It's a very, looking into something that might not even be there. It's a very, one side wants to live forever, the other side's tired of it, wants to die. Yeah. It's just such an interesting concept.
Yeah, I wonder if both characters that we see predominantly through the trailer will be playable, or if it's just going to be the one side and they're going to tell a visceral story between just these two characters, or if these two characters aren't really deeply involved in the story at all. I mean, this could be anything.
It's true.
Bethesda has steered us wrong before. So moving quickly on to the next one, Deathloop looks interesting, but you'll have to face death itself in Doom Eternal.
This is
How about that
quite
segue?
literally. Quite literal.
Doom Eternal, it's back, man, and Doom is back, and it looks crazy.
Oh, man.
It looks bloody, looks like you're going to be murdering a lot of demons, a lot of friends, because there's multiplayer now.
Yup. That's going to start an argument for sure. Friendships will end over Doom.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just like the old days, man. The Doom multiplayer that they came out with originally, it was so brutal and fun, but now with this modern twist, all these different... obviously modern technology is crazy, and the gameplay is just so fluid and fast, and I assume that 60 frames a second is going to be blisteringly beautiful on PC.
120 now.
Right. 120 and up, man. I can't even fathom how quick this game's going to be played.
I tell you, the thing that I'm really excited for. You ready for this?
All right.
This is gonna throw you for a loop. I'm really just excited to see how people speedrun this fucking game.
Yeah.
One thing that I noticed about it in the trailer, they didn't change the movement as much as I thought they were going to with a new game, and it actually looks like the different styles of speedrunning, movement skill wise, are still going to play a massive effect. And in all speedrunning games, when you come with Doom, a lot of the games, the fastest way to speedrun them is to not shoot your gun. That's the fastest way to speedrun games in Doom. So I'm excited to see if this breaks that. You have to shoot your gun. Some of these enemies look pretty fucking tough, dude.
Yeah, I imagine that shooting your gun will be a main crux of the game.
I hope.
Initially. But if you are getting into that speedrunning, maybe the gunplay is the secondary option, and the movement is really fluid. The grappling hook that they've added now looks intense. The whole fucking thing looks intense. I just can't get over how crazy. I feel like Doom is the franchise now that Bethesda is just like, all right, so all these other ones were trying to do fancy, intricate things. Deathloop has this mysterious story, but then Doom Eternal, you're over here all right, so here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna chainsaw these demons in half. You're gonna shoot all these guys in the face. You're gonna rip these guys' esophagus out, and you're gonna go home, and you're gonna feel great about it.
And you can do it with a shotgun.
Yeah, I mean, you can somebody throw it out with a shotgun.
Yeah.
the possibilities are endless. So, just really quick before we finish up, there are a couple smaller things that I wanted to mention. One you brought to the table that I didn't even remember, that now that I do remember it, I'm going to have to pick it up, but from Annapurna, the 12 minutes from Microsoft conference, it just looks so interesting. So give your thoughts.
I think that's all you can say about it, dude. It looks really interesting. Top-down view of literally a top-down thriller about a man trapped in a time loop.
So yeah, this was definitely the tagline we were talking about before.
Yo,
this tagline I literally copied down, and I was like, wow, that's literally the tagline for the game. A top-down thriller about a man trapped in a time loop. Tell me, how better do you sell a game than that? It's just like, all right, so here's the concept. Here's what you're going to be doing. You show them the trailer. You're like, well, damn, yeah, you're right. That's exactly what's going to happen.
I mean, I think the only thing they could have done better is a top-down thriller about a man trapped in a house in a time loop. Because if you added house in a time, like...
Right, it's not exactly...
Definitely excited.
They could have been more specific, I guess, like in an apartment. But maybe you break out of the apartment. Maybe you go to like work or something.
Maybe you go to work.
But it is only 12 minutes.
I hope the game is... Part of me hopes the game is 12 minutes
I wonder if there's going
long.
to be a crossover with Minute.
Ooh. Oh, man.
But anyway, so the very last thing that I want to mention before we get off, the Nintendo conference, we didn't really put literally anything in here from Nintendo, but I just wanted to sprinkle this in at the end because I'm super excited for this. The last stinger that they had at the end of their E3 Nintendo Direct was the Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel is in development, and they had this really eerie trailer that showed almost like this zombified, what looked like one of the ancient monks in that game. I don't know if you've experienced any of that.
I've dabbled in some of it. I know the general premise.
Okay, so there were these shrine monks that every shrine you go to, you get an ability point from the shrine monk.
Okay.
This looks like a distorted one of those that maybe was turned dark by Ganon or something like that. Maybe might be the main antagonist of the game. Looks really crazy. Looks really cool. Could be co-op gameplay there with Zelda.
That'd be dope.
That'd be a lot of fun.
By the way, it's in development.
It's in development. So that's all we got this week. The E3 recap. We highlighted a bunch of things that we're excited for, but there's a bunch of stuff that we didn't highlight that I'm still excited for, and you should be too, because this year and next is going to be a hell of a time to be a gamer.
Dude, it's going to be
next gen
insane.
coming out, and all these crazy games, all the exclusives that are going to be announced for the launch year of the systems next year is going to be insane. Obviously, just one more time, let me just say it: Cyberpunk 2077.
What? Who?
Yeah,
who?
Neo, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Neo. So until next time, follow us, comment below, like us. Like our Facebook page or Instagram. We're going to get some more pictures up there. But, next time. Peace.
Peace.